又输了，7分钟拿了7个人头都能输，我服了。
可惜了，可惜了。
打了8个小时的比赛，饿了吧？先看看菜单。
阿姨，给我来份麻辣香锅，我什么都要。
喂，叫小姐姐。
海式奶茶要不？加了枫糖。
我又变强了。
准备好当救世主了吗？我们早就准备好了，你呢？来吧，去创造你们的时代。
太慢了吧，等你好久了。
And we've been waiting for you to return to us in the LPL for week 1, day 3 of the spring split. Hello and welcome back. My name's Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko, joined by Barento, Raz Muhammad, and we're here to deliver the best league in the world once again.
Yeah, and if you already see it, Suning entering the new Hongqiao venue. Remember, we're moving away from the Super Brand Mall. You can see Vici on your screen as well.
We took a beautiful car trip to get here, and now that we're here, we're ready to get back into League of Legends. But for all of you out there, you would have wondered, where was the English broadcast yesterday? And of course, you missed some matches because we're not here on Tuesdays. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday is our schedule. And of course, being here today, you missed out on EDG and Sino Dragon to start us off.
Yeah, it's EDG and Sino Dragon, that was fun. Also BLG and LGD to round out that day. Both of them ended in 2-0 clean sweeps. I liked how BLG rounded it out with LGD. But to start it off with EDG versus Sino, I wanted to see Sino play. This was the first time they got to play 5 rookies. They were great team fighters coming into the lane, but they got outclassed.
EDG came into this full throttle, and if there's any question as to whether they would struggle against a team like Sino Dragon, we got our answer.
Yeah. Pure discipline from the squad. The first question that came to my mind with the drafting decisions from Sino, Zillion, Victor in Game 1 didn't make much sense, and a very narrow win condition in Game 2 when they had the Aurelion Sol in Italy. But this was something that they really played through consistently in the LDL. They thought it would be a win condition in the LPL, and then immediately it was just really EDG teaching them a lesson.
We're excited to see Twiller on maybe a different pick, on something like the Aurelion Sol, but unfortunately just to no success. EDG shutting them down in less than 23-minute games each and every time. We then moved forward to BLG and LGD.
Yeah.
More of the same story, but at least it felt like LGD put up a better fight.
Yeah, and of course it's BLG that came out with a victory alongside EDG, FPX and Invictus Gaming in day 1 as well. To hear a little bit about Billy, I was a little bit questioning a little bit skeptical on the roster coming in, but Kuro and Meteor really had some fantastic performances. The 2v2 was very strong. They have a pretty easy schedule going into Chinese New Year's, so I think immediately coming out of that, that's when they're truly tested when they go up against JD.
We'll test more of LGD as well coming forward, but for today it is Suning the super team, starting us off with Vici Gaming, and of course later OMG and IG.
I want to see what happens. Remember, this is OMG playing in their venue in Chengdu, so this is the grand opening for them, playing their first game of the year in that venue.
We got to see IG before against TOP. They were looking strong, so more questions as to OMG goes up against them. But with our first matchup here, we finally get to see the Suning super team.
Yeah, Suning super team, man. Like, okay, at least I was just a little worried if they were not going to be able to retain their 2 best players the previous iteration, which was FLICKR and Xiao. They did, thank the Lord, right? Xiao, the second best top laner last year. FLICKR, who I thought regarded as top 3 next to Ning and Karsa, they were able to retain
underrated
them.
as well.
Exactly, and so then bring in the Flash Rolls favorites. Maple and Sword Art coming in from the LMS, coming in from Flash Rolls, were an incredible pickup there.
Honestly, from the Flash Wolves as well, this is an all-star roster. They lose 2 of their best players, or some of their best players, I should say, from the LMS region. And you've got SMLZ just sitting in the mix.
Yeah, that's why we call them a Suning super team, is because top laner, the top lane. You have SMLZ that I regard as the best player that has yet to make it to Worlds, and the second best AD carry next to Uzi. Right here, what you're seeing in front of you, who later on we'll have to watch Icon play it out. This is Series 2, but just to focus on what is going to be happening in the first series, is Suning played such a damn good series in the Demacia Cup. When they went up against Edward Gaming, we got to see the best of them. So I want to see a little bit more of what Suning has to offer with more playtime underneath them.
A player like Maple as well. He's comfortable on a champion that even Icon's comfortable on that LeBlanc. So we have some picks in mind that define this team.
Yes.
And I think coming together, at least we got to see them in the Demacia Cup.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what's really appetizing to me, is because going into Demacia Cup, I was like, okay, it's going to be Invictus Gaming and Suning. Those are the 2 teams to watch. TOP, of course, had a lot of practice going into the tournament. So for Suning, they didn't look as good because of that. I think a lot of their lanes got smashed in certain, like to Rogue Warriors. EDG was a rough and tumble early laning phase as well. But when it came down to it, now they have the practice. And you could call this practice as well, going up against Vici Gaming. We get to see the true Suning super team.
Because it is the super team versus the developmental team, or the developmental squad of Vici Gaming. They're not really running their 2 core members in Audi, in Caveman. So it's curious to see how this fresh blood could impact the series.
It seems like they're rewarding their players for winning the third-party tournament NISO, because this was the exact roster that did it. We'll see the players come up soon enough, but for me, the mainstay player that I want to see play out is Jay. Jay, Ix, Chalitza, Puff, Southwind. Those are 5 players that I'm pretty high on in terms of individual talent.
Yep.
But if they're going up against Suning, I think that's where they're going to get outclassed.
It's a good game to welcome them back into the spring split. Many questions about Vici Gaming.
Here
Hopefully some to be answered, but here's our roster. It is Chaliza, it is AIX, also known as Ix this time around, Jay, Puff, and Southwind.
Now, Puff and Southwind, they came from Red Wolf Gaming. Jay came from Tyloo. These are all from the developmental rosters that were not related to Vici. But Vici brought in Chalitza and Ix from their own LDL squad. So for them, they're pretty confident in them, but now you have to be that much more confident in Suning. Xiao, Hacker, Maple, SMLZ, and Sword Art. This team should make top 3 in the LPL if they can synergize well.
And maybe challenge top 2.
Yes.
How to RNG play? Can IG keep up that consistency? Suning will give us some answers, but not to all the questions we ask here. I want to transition down more to the bottom lane because we've talked about SMLZ, but Sword Art in an interview said, I'm really hyped to be working with this AD carry.
Yeah, because I think we mentioned it a little earlier on, this was the best AD carry he's had to play with. In the past, he's gone with NL, Betty, and while Betty turned out to be a competitive AD carry in global events, he still was taking the backseat to a lot of them. He's taking the backseat to Doublelift, to Uzi, to just about every regional player, Reckless from Fnatic. But now you bring in SMLZ, and if he's the second best player in the LPL, of course you want to play with him. You want to be able to rely on an AD carry in team fights, and that's something Flash Wolves lacked, quite honestly, in international events. So now you have that for Sword Art. He's going to be confident. For SMLZ, you can say the same thing. When he was on Masters 3, he didn't have a support that can match him.
Yeah.
When he was on OMG, it was getting a little better. In fact, 5 was good. He was a good support in the league, and it pushed them to 4th place in the league at the time. This is their best chance to find themselves that world spot ticket.
It feels like a perfect match, maybe as perfect as the top side of the map. Still, Xiao Allen, Hacker, as you mentioned before, the experience on this roster is huge, and although it may be the very first LPL split for these LMS superstars, we know that they're going to come in red hot.
Yeah, whole host of experience coming in from the LMS and just world-class events. That's what they're going to be bringing. So I know that I mentioned the synergy, the major question. but they already technically have that built-in synergy with Xiao, Owl, and Hacker. Hacker goes top side really early on, pretty frequently. That's how they get a lot of their first bloods for their team.
Yeah.
And then Sword Art and Maple work so well in tandem. The only question is how SMLZ is going to run in the mix. In his past team in Rogue Warriors, their early game was rather poor, and they tried to wait it out until the late portion of the game where his team fighting was just insane. But I don't see that happening in this team. I think Sword Art is going to do well enough to protect him within the lane, and the communication is going to be key. And you can already see the man talking. So, like, Sword Art is a talker. He's a leader. That's something that Killua didn't have because he was a rookie, and I think that's already been resolved.
And let's take a step back with SMLZ in the Demacia Cup. You saw these picks coming out like Ezreal. It's not the meta where SMLZ can just sit on maybe the late game scaler in the Cogmore and play the Rogue Warriors style. Instead, it's Suning who have the experience in the bottom lane with Sword Art.
I think we're just talking about the picks that he has available. Kaisa is the first, like, he was the first player to even touch Kaisa. When people were saying that she was chunky, didn't have the, you know, the kit.
Yeah.
No, literally the mechanics of it was chunky and it didn't play well. So when everyone else was saying she was garbage before the buff that she received, he literally played it before the playoffs. So Kaisa's still great at the meta. He still has a pretty good Ezreal, but we saw Kalista actually making her rounds around the world, and he's a great Kalista player. So I'm not concerned about what he has to offer, and at times, you get to a position where he is so confident that he goes into the second portion pick and ban, and then he brings out maybe the Jinx, something you didn't expect at all. So yeah, I think with Suning, they have a lot of depth in their champion pool.
I'm hoping to see some of those spicy picks coming into the pick and bans, which we're about to jump into. Whether it's the Jinx, whether it's the Kalista, which has been changed in 9.1, Suning will tell us whether this super team is working at high capacity against Vici Gaming.
And you're going to see Coach Long, former top laner of Vici Gaming, already have a snazzy suit there, so he's getting, you know, pretty comfortable with the position that he is. And remember, for Suning, they have Coach Easyhoon, former mid laner for Vici Gaming. So there's already, just from the coaching staff and things, there's already people, you know, a lot of relation between these two teams.
Bit ironic for Suning to start against Vici Gaming, and with the bans on the screen, Thresh, Lucian, and Sion, a change up from yesterday if you're watching. Cassiopeia, Aatrox, and Camille with the first pick Galio.
Now, Sejuani is still up, but the Galio is something we missed on day one. No team was willing to go towards the Galio because they prided themselves on their mid laners' mechanics. And so when you try and free your mid laners' mobility, then you don't really get that ability to play through them. So right now, Vici Gaming already showcasing that they're going to be playing team fight. They don't have access to the Camille to bring you down, but I think that as long as they have the Kha'Zix that Ix is good on, then it should work out. Also, Sejuani already made a mention of that. Works well in tandem with the Galio.
Yeah, still open and available. Urgot in the top side, though. They're picking the mid lane and happy to take the Zoe into the AP matchup. And Jay, he may not be on an assassin, but he should be comfortable knowing that Maple is picking something into Emma.
This is pretty crazy that Suning immediately, just on their first rotation, have gone and locked in both solo laners. It makes it so Vici can immediately say, okay, well, we'll go into second phase, and we'll try and counter pick into the Urgot. Usually the way to do it is the Lissandra. Lissandra has a really good lane, just, you know, shoving lane, is never in a bad situation versus Urgot, but they've left that to second phase, which means that Suning should be able to just immediately ban it out.
When over the past couple of days, Lissandra has been a higher priority than something like this Zoe. Makes you question, but do not question Suning the super team. With Zyra Khan, bottom lane there for Vici Gaming. Good, strong laning phase there. Coupled with Tahm Kench with Sword Art is always sitting on.
Sword Art's Tahm Kench. Now, his Tahm Kench is real fun to watch. It reminds me of former Suning support Yoon, where the way he utilizes it is to push tempo a lot of times. If they're moving to the next tower, they're much faster at it because he has that Tahm Kench ultimate, but also it allows the extra bit of protection. Urgot doesn't need protection. Zoe perhaps will later on, but I'm talking about SMLZ, who's left his AD carry pick to second phase. Vici should start levying more bans towards it. They started out with the Lucian, but just thinking about it, like, Ezreal was already pretty damn safe, so I'm not too happy with the Ezreal ban in particular. I want to see what SMLZ is looking for.
What are they going to smack down at the very end? Caitlyn's still open, but Aurelia looking towards the top side of the map for Suning, where their strengths lie, and trying to shut out where that Galio's going to go.
So remember, it's Puff that's picking out the Xayah, which is fairly vulnerable within the lane. Kalista has been the mainstay pickup against it. If you don't get your hands on the Lucian, then I've been seeing a lot of Kalista. So makes sense that Vici are trying to take away their engage. So right now, Suning with the Tahm Kench, and they haven't locked in the jungle just yet, they would need at least one form of engage to feel comfortable.
Well, they stick to the, I guess, 80 carry pick at the moment. That could be SMLZ's Victor, which is more than likely at this point picking something AP and safe.
That's interesting. Now, remember last split, he was the first one to really go towards the mage bottom lanes in the LPL. He played a lot of Heimerdinger and Karthus. So that's the reason why I said that, you know what, I'm not too concerned about SMLZ's champion pool. But I am a little bit concerned about what Suning's composition has to offer. Because it seems like right now that's a lot of protection. Like the Victors, W, and Tahm Kench will be able to save you out of certain death. But I want to see some more action. I think that Zoe creates a composition for you with her Sleepy Trouble Bubble and Poke. Right now what I want to see is Hacker picking up Kha'Zix or perhaps just the Lee Sin so they have some form of, I would say, some form of action, like some engage with the Lee Sin would be one.
Yeah.
Kha'Zix wouldn't bring the engage, but at least he would have some direction of going forward.
Yeah, let's assassinate someone if you're Suning. But on the other side, Vici Gaming, two interesting picks that you don't see every day with Jarvan locked in as well as the Renekton. At least they're picking something a little bit more, not inverted, exverted.
It's a 2v2 focus. It's literally just Chaliza and Ike saying that they're going to be playing top lane. So Xiao Ao does have to worry a little bit. I don't think their 2v2 is better than Renekton and Jarvan just because of the double lockdown they provide and the early damage that Renekton does offer. You have to wonder if he's going to be going Conquerors or if he's going press the attack. That's my question. That being said, that's really interesting. Vici are just going to be focusing on their top lane really early on and try and bridge that to the late game for the Zyricon.
Compete against something like the Lee Sin, which was the final pickup for Suning there. Xiao Ao and Hacker, topside focus to be expected here with the Urgot and Lee. Volatile matchups across the board, but you have to say for Suning, maybe some question marks, but kind of sorted out in the end.
I think for Suning, my biggest question mark is how their early game is going to fare. Looks like a lot of that pressure is going to be on Hacker to get things going. It is a bit difficult. I want to see what the rune setup is for Jarvan, just because that will dictate how the 2v2 works in mid lane, or at least how, I'd say, the early skirmish around the Scuttle Crab would work. I would say Scuttle Crab fights.
Yep.
Because ultimately, no one wants to have the game end around Scuttle Crab. So I think Jarvan would be the one who would not touch it. You just try and go for a level 2 gank either mid or top lane. That would be my guess immediately.
Where do they go? Vici Gaming, big task ahead of them here. It's a matchup that we weren't expecting to maybe start with at the split, but we've got it. And it's a good test here for Vici. They start off with a hard one against the Suning super team, and they've got Jay in the mid lane. All eyes on this mid lane carry.
See, this is why I'm always sad when it comes to people playing Galio.
Yeah.
Because we all want to hype him up. He's played so many assassins, the LeBlanc, I guess during NISO, the third-party tournament, he had some great Akali play where he's like 1v4ing them. I was like, I was hyped. I was ready to see some Jay action, and it looks like that's going to be delayed to game 2 where he can add that option. At least maybe want to see if his Galio is as good as a rookie. Because when rookie plays Galio, I'm not concerned. He has some great moments, so I want to see what he can do. A lot of it is just going to be on the tried and true Xayah, Galio, Jarvan engage. That's what Vici's bringing.
There's a very big difference between rookie and this mid laner of Vici Gaming. Let's go. Man, I didn't even get a chance to talk. We're just in level 1 already. We got here pretty fast. SMLZ and Sorta. See you later.
I don't even want to see a replay on that one. I can just pretty much lay it out for you. Southwind using his Ignite. So, yeah, level 1 is usually tough to go into Zyricon just because Southwind, usually Zyricon would want to stake out in one bush. I'm expecting it to be the bottom lane inner bush. So, SMLZ and Sorta probably walked in. Rakan probably knocked them both up. SML tried to run away, and he had to use his own flash, and that's the most important aspect. Victor coming back to lane now without flash makes it much easier now for Ikes to target that lane.
Such a great trade-off, Vici Gaming. The flash for Ignite makes it so well worth it. We do actually eventually get a replay.
So it wasn't a double knock-up, it was just simply a knock-up onto SMLZ. The moment they ignited, he just run it off, so easy. I think that's just a big win for Puff and Southwind.
So bottom side, how does this affect it? Level 2, it's going to be a red start from both junglers here. Early Pixel Brush warding 2.
So I want to have a little bit of story time. We'll do this after the Keystones being shown. Nothing out of the ordinary for the Keystones. And it answers the question of press the attack immediately for Chalitza. So that's actually really good setup for a top lane gank. Makes it so Alex, if he takes his Scuttle Crab, he can go straight mid and then top lane.
Oh no! Oh, you talked about it, Raz, the early Scuttle fight, and Alex is just going to have to get out of here, but eventually steals it over away. Hacker over the wall, and he's out of there.
That was really well done. And honestly, if I was Hacker, I would go for the fight, at least a little bit of burst onto Ike's. I know that Puff and Southwind had pressure in lane, so they would have rotated, but the full combination, that's what makes the Scuttle Crab fight so interesting when it's Jarvan, because he has to throw his full combination to take the early resistances off of the Scuttle Crab. And that happens, yeah, Hacker can fight you. He can just start throwing damage down, but he tried to steal the Scuttle Crab rather than laying any meaningful damage onto Ike.
So it means that the Scuttle ends up going to Ike's, which is a good win here for Vici Gaming. 2 early moments that may define them going forward. Chalitza in the top lane, getting bullied out by Zhao Al, but the Renekton can't do too much in this melee versus range matchup.
Yeah, it's completely dictated by the gank. So the range is always in favor of Urgot. Early burst, I mean the percentage damage of Urgot passive is always going to outtrade. It's literally just, is Jarvan top lane? Excellent. Lock him down and kill him. Even if Zhao Al uses flash, should die due to the double knockup if Jarvan is holding on to his EQ combination. So you can already see the fact that Lee Sin is topside taking Scuttle Crab, and the early ward was placed down by Zhao Al. They recognize it's such a straightforward focus from Vici just to put down wards and protect the man.
Ike's is there as well though, so might be able to make a response if anything happens soon. Deep wards, or sorry, Riverside wards there from Suning.
That's what I hate about the mid lane, by the way. I know we always throw in some hate towards the Zoe, but early redemption, you gotta love it. You know, level 4, just pick it up so you can actually win any trade you have, and then this is the tough part of the map.
Heal your jungler, but no healing down the bottom side. SMLZ not having a fun time. What you expect from the Zyra Khan is a strong level 2, but without that flash, that level 2 is going to turn into level 3, level 4. Suning's bottom lane, it's going to take a while for them to be able to trade back.
So this is the worry here, is that it's slowly building up the wave. I mean, you don't want it to happen. You don't want SMLZ and Sword Art pushing their heads out before the flash comes right back up, so you can see that Maple is once again trying to help out.
With a smite.
There we go. Well, no, I just spied out the Jarvan in the lane. So there is so much vision now. I feel like when Jarvan was topside, he couldn't do anything because of the Scuttle Crab being focused down.
When he was Sword Art.
And when he was bot side, the Scryer's plant being thrown in there shows where Ix is being was pathing. So already 4 minutes into the game, and he can't really do much to help his team.
Hacker's going bot side as well, being close by. That's a flash up again. The Ignite all the way there. SMLZ drops down first blood. Great start here for Vici Gaming.
And a perfect start for Puff and Southwind. I mean, not a lot of people will know their names, and I say they're previously on Red Wolf. You're like, who now? But if I cast your mind back to Demacia Cup corner, like the qualifiers, when Snake got taken down by a random TGA team and were shamed during 2017, you're like, who did that? That was this team. That was Puff and Southwind that did it to them. So they are super confident no matter who they go up against. Solo kill on SMLZ really early on tells that tale.
Super confident against the super team, and the bottom lane begins here for the Zyra Khan. There's a BF sword picked up by Puff, and in this laning phase, SMLZ has had to burn his teleport early. Flash may be just about to be back up, but there is no safety here, even with sword up.
I love the fact that he, Puff coming back into the lane with the Fairy Charm. For people who don't know, AD carries have been doing that pretty religiously, or at least when they have a slight lead, because it doesn't cost much, but the sell back is actually insane. It's super efficient to just have the mana, and you can sell it whenever, and it just overall costs like 50 gold. So essentially like a pot worth of resources.
It's one of those things like when Jin Plays started taking the Doran's Ring as well, and a lot of AD carries actually joined in on that for about a patch. So,
well, that one was great because it was related to the scaling of a lot of those champions. Because
that's also true.
Dancing Grenade for Jin, and just the sustain that he would have off of his Q. So you're right in the regard of the sustain that Doran's Ring brought in passive. So Puff already thinking about how the laning phase is going to go, because usually it's especially with the turret plating being added in the preseason, much longer, harder to take the turrets pre-14. So Puff and Southwind waiting for the long storm.
There's been no push up to get near that turret and take down some of that turret plating 6 minutes in. And remember that turret plating drops down at the 14-minute mark, but now finally getting pushed in with the build-up of this wave from Suning's bottom lane might open things up. However, Ike's is towards the top side of the map. Will get spotted out by a ward, so just has to clear it and probably back off.
This shows that Vici's focus is going to be top lane. We talked about the early gank. I was talking level 3, level 4, but that was denied to them. Now that Jay, level 6, just turned level 7, he's going to be what starts the fight. So, oh, wait a second.
Because while bottom lane is fighting it out, Puff is just having the time of his life. SMLZ doesn't have ultimate, Sword Art has to flash. Very strong point here for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, Sword Art and SMLZ are straight losing 2v2 to this lane. And at this point, Puff and Southwind could try their hardest to just kind of have lane control, wave control, so they can continuously bait these fights out and make it so much easier for their jungle to just bat. Because I was talking about top lane. In fact, that was what he was focused on.
Yeah.
J4 is saying, let me go top side. I'm going to clear it out for you. But Puff and Southwind at this point is just communicating to say, come bottom lane. And it is actually so easy here.
It's like getting a free gift voucher for KFC. You just have to use it. And now with that bottom side pressure, again, moving to an early dragon around the 8-minute mark, Raz. We talked a lot, or heavily yesterday, about these early dragons and what they provide. Next one looks to be an Infernal after that Ocean.
So you can see the sustain already working beautifully for both Jay and Southwind. Southwind using a lot of mana for those engages that he had. Now getting a little bit of it back. Oh, it's being seen here. He's going to be jumped on.
Maple does have the Hex Tech and going to be jumped on. Blast Cone gets him out, slows down Ike, so flashes over the wall, scared about where Hacker's going to be.
Yeah, I would have hit him regardless if like it was aimed properly, so the flash was just a bit late. But regardless, that was, I would say, a good call for Mike. Because he recognized that Maple was going to come back to the lane. If he gets the damage off, waits a little bit longer enough for Jay to follow through, that's an easy entry bot lane.
SMLZ is just happy to walk back in, but I'm not sure if it's right. Sword Art will go into grey health if he chooses to pop it. But again, forced to back away as this bottom lane engages again.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad about the fact that Southwind used ultimate for that. Because that makes this play that Vici's trying to orchestrate a little bit harder.
Well, he just goes in again. He still has the Ignite, so he's happy to take it with the Chaos Storm right on top of him.
Oh, no.
He's forced to back away. The feathers fly and looking to draw it back. The Galio Hero's entrance will stop it. Justice Punch forward. Maybe not stop it. The Winds of War. Sword Art just walks forward.
My friends, this is the definition of impatience and being green as players. Because had they waited, this was a beautifully orchestrated play, then that would have just worked well on the tower. But Southwind uses ultimate prematurely for a trade, and then tries to go for an all-in when Puff isn't going to follow up. That's not going to turn into a kill, and you already had two members who were leaning towards your lane. That was a costly mistake, and it drew them back.
And Jay ults down too, has to TP back to lane, use the flash in that small trade as well, and Maple suddenly brings the attention of Hacker mid. Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike, but simply to help clear out the way.
Yeah, give Maple a good back timing. I wonder what he's going to get when he does go back. Oh, a little bit of a taunt, so he can push. He just wants Jay to like not freeze the wave here. Thankfully, forces him enough to do it.
So Jay clears it out. It'll reset in the backing now of Maple. Now you're curious, Raz, as to what he'd buy first, but that's the makings of maybe a Luden's Echo to start things off before Jay gets his first.
Yeah, gets it, picks it up for himself. The question is always, yeah, do you finish up your Ludens or do you want to actually get your tier 2 magic boots? That's what I would think, just because he wants to move a little bit faster, but no. Does go for the raw damage there. Yes, 450 gold to his name as well, the bounty on his head. So it would be nice if Ix does can focus onto him with how far he is ahead of the enemy team, but it's getting difficult.
Because junglers have started being quiet after the little scuffle in the early game. Things have settled down, but look at the vision now from Vici Gaming. With that continued bot side focus, they've got vision into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, they're trying once again. The pings are coming across for that bot lane tower, so it is a possibility. They do have one control ward on Jay. So if they want to make it happen, and make it around the tower. Oh, actually, they might find a play on SMLZ.
It's not warded. SMLZ doesn't have flash either. They jump onto Sword Art. He has Ignite, but that's not going to matter in the scheme of things. Can they burst him down? They cannot. The Chaos Storm onto the jungler here of Vici. He'll go golden, but Puff and Southwind need to support because here comes Hacker. Are they going to get out in time? Hacker jumping in. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, waiting for the Yaku, but he can't get it in time.
That was 2 times in a row that Vici Gaming, yeah, that was hella close, tried to go for the all-in on SMLZ and Sword Art. They know they need to take Sword Art down first, because if they try for SMLZ, then Tom Kench is just going to whisk him away. And it just can't happen. Victor throws down his ultimate, and it's way too much damage for them to deal with.
Second time that things have gone wrong in the bottom side when it looks so great for Vici Gaming. The veterancy of the Suning roster knows exactly what to do.
It's all about discipline and timing, because that gank is actually still good, but you need Jay to be a part of it. He was so close to being able to have, contribute with his own ulti. Why not double down on that? Or even better yet, the setup you had last play of, building up a wave, pushing it under turret, getting the turret dive with Galio. That works so much easier, but they're just not really making it work. So this is the type of game that after win or loss, you take with your Coach Long on their squad, and you just play it out. Play the first 10 minutes to your team and just have a discussion about it, because this is not working out well for them, and they have full ownership with how good their laning phase was.
Because you'd be saying that at least we can push in and get some of that turret plating, but because of SMLZ's teleport, Vici Gaming's bottom lane can't get near that turret.
Yeah, because remember, cast your mind back to yesterday, SDG versus EDG, Game 2. That was the game where SDG had a complete early game comp where they were trying for that bottom lane tower. And I think they set that up way better than Vici did. But then EDG were good enough to push them off the tower with the vision that they had. That was a good thing EDG did. But at least Sino Dragon had forced them into that route. Right now, Suning are not forcing Vici to do anything. Vici are just falling flat on their own.
So at least some of these mistakes can be capitalized on. Cataclysm again, SMLZ, out he goes. Suning, you're in so much trouble because 5 members of Vici are here to join the party, but again, they can't conflict. And they're just going to walk up to the turret and try and get some of this plating down.
So we'll see what they can do here. Victor ulti is just going to clear out the wave, so really rough that they use their top laner teleport to make it down here. Because at the end of the day, Shao's pretty happy. Take down more turret plating. Oh no. 14 minutes, I'm sorry. But at least he's going to have some free minions to himself, but he already had that CS advantage over Renekton.
But what happens with this Dragon? Hacker pressuring onto Ikes. He might just have to back away too. Chalitza is still in the bottom lane.
I mean, right now, Suning are in it.
That's a gap close. Remember, SMLZ doesn't have an ultimate, but a great exhaust from Sword Art makes him force away. 5 members down here. The flash is now onto Hacker, and that's going to be a dead Lee Sin. Vici Gaming finally make a move, but can they stick it onto SMLZ and Sword Art? They get the Dragon, but now Xiao Al is coming in with Maple. SMLZ, the flash, they pick a play finally, and again, the Tom Kench drops down. It's now Xiao Al who gets the pick off, but Jay's still alive, and into the backside, Chalitza is taking a 1v2. The Renekton turns with the help of Jarvan. Vici Gaming onto the super team. It looks so good. The move is made, and it's the Rakan onto Maple. The full clean ace.
This is exactly what we didn't expect out of Vici Gaming, and that was the best coordinated play we've seen from them. Play around Dragon and know that Shao had to have that long road from the top lane as he had Ignite to his name. So well done, and they just completely pushed SMLZ. I mean, if you watch that team fight back, that was SMLZ so low, couldn't really contribute. Sure, he got that 1 kill, but it was immediately Puff who flashed forward and got him. So you watch back, that was Southwind and Puff styling out before you even saw that top laner. Here we go. So immediately, while they were contesting for Dragon, because you knew that SMLZ and Sword Art were going to be late to this, they already eviscerated Lee Sin. Why are you even a part of this as Lee Sin is gone? You can't contribute and take down Dragon, not whatsoever. And SMLZ didn't even have much HP to begin with. So look at SMLZ trying to contribute, knowing that this felt like a lost cause. At least he got a kill back for him, but was immediately eviscerated. Another team fight.
We're fighting again over the Rift Herald, which has just been secured by Suning, but Vici have already gotten the pick that they need. They're onto 1 member. Xiao Al, what can you do? Fear Beyond Death is unable to be used. 2 quick kills. Suning want more, but they can't get anything.
And they're just going to guard this. Even though Suning took down that Rift Herald, they're not even going to reap the benefits. The
The super team is failing, Wrath. 3K gold to Vici Gaming. They have an Infernal, which is now 10%. We mentioned yesterday the Ocean to add to the mix, which will be another coming up. And control of the map.
It's almost gone,
to Vici Gaming.
There's actually no way they picked this up. And the failings really started in the bottom lane. It started really early on, level 1. Flash lost.
Yeah.
Puff and Southwind in what is a very contentious lane to deal with, the classical Xayah Rakan. They just kept fighting, right? And even though I levied some early criticisms to how they were coordinating it, that was just the details. Because they had so much ownership of that lane, other teams would hit them hard, one play, and it worked. But they had 3 chances. And the 3rd chance around Dragon is when it really looked good. So kudos to Jay that really started that off, that picked up Hacker. And then coming from Jaliza from the side, I think we're already seeing something beautiful from this team.
We looked at the freshness of Vici Gaming when they made those mistakes earlier in the game. Puff and Southwind heavy on the trigger, maybe a bit too fast. And then in that 3rd fight, as you just said then, it all came together. They're a lot more patient, and Vici Gaming played towards their new style.
But I like that to the alternative, because you see young players coming into the league, and oftentimes they're either nervous or a little bit too risk averse. And what we're seeing here is Puff, Southwind, who are, if you want to talk about how long they've played League of Legends, they would call themselves veteran, or at least Southwind. I've seen this guy playing in the developmental league for so damn long. At this point, I don't think there's much to develop.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's more of a question of like, when is he going to play in the major leagues, and it finally happened. So I've been talking up Southwind for about 2 years now. I think the real question is like Southwind versus Caveman, which one's coming out better. But if they're performing like this against Sunny, it's insane to see it, and you would love to see Southwind and Puff play more games for them.
On their debut match as well, look at the whole of Vici Gaming. Jay on 2 items now with that Morellonomicon in hand. There's a rapid fire cannon on Puff too. Another fight could be fatal for Suning.
That's what makes it really damning for Suning. In the current meta, because of the rune changes that came through, if you can just be a raw magic dealing bruiser. We're just going for another fight here.
Have to pause you again. It's SMLZ who's gotten caught out. He's 1 and 3 and walks up to the turret. Thankfully, Sword Art gets him out.
They just keep throwing Ignite on his head. You can look at Puff right now, just communicating quite a bit in the player camera. They really want this kill. Right now, 1 and 3. SMLZ is feeling the burn.
Ike's on the debut Jarvan game of the LPL 0-0 and 7. He's moved up to the top side as well, ready to start the fight.
Take a look at where Galio is. I mean, at this point in time, he's just pushing the lane and constantly roaming, so he's in range of his ultimate. I was just talking about the fact that Galio is an AP bruiser.
Yep.
And the fact that he can get the 20 AP and the rune stats, but still have the Aftershock and Resolve, and doesn't have to get the HP that Resolve used to give you in the previous patches. So Lissandra and Galio really benefited from that. You're just seeing raw, full AP builds, because he can just do this.
Oh, he flashes forward onto Maple. He'll go golden. Southwind's here, but Maple's not surviving this. Portal jump to where? The flash and Cataclysm.
Oh!
The burn will be enough in the end. Ike's for another kill, but they're behind enemy lines, and Suning know this. They're looking for the chase, and Xiaoao misses. How do you miss that, Xiaoao? Into the mix now with a 5v1, and Vici Gaming are crumbling over Suning.
This is what Tilt is made out of. I have no idea. Did he see an imaginary friend, my man? I don't know where you were aiming that
The
thing.
6th man.
But then you have a situation, because like, that was a really good flank. Conceptually, he holds them there, and there is a real, because like, he can get a kill just based off that alone. He was still holding on to his Q, and they were at least like very low, so that would have been an instant fear. Like, in his own mind, it looked beautiful. But the execution is really not coming out there from Suning.
Vici Gaming continue to push ahead again. 3K gold lead. Double Ocean Drake on this comp that can engage and disengage so easily.
And I just want to see the dive again, because that was such a well-executed dive from Vici, because I think Maple played that out as well as he could.
Yeah.
He had his ultimate there. He had at least a stopwatch for him to hold as long as possible for his friends to come. And you even saw Ike's holding on to his Jarvan ultimate, his flag drag, for when the escape was coming through to nail the kill.
Speaking of nailing, Vici Gaming are doing such a good job here in the first game. Remember, we call them the development team.
Yeah.
And this is development. This is game 1 development and adaptation.
Exactly. And usually with these early game leads, you would expect young teams like these to fall through. But you can already see the control wards being picked up by the 80 carry of all people. 2 control wards on Puff, Ix, and Chalitza. Like, that is important because they're immediately moving towards the Baron 21 minutes in, and it's forcing Sha'al to get the hell away from this turret.
We've been given a great game by Vici Gaming and one where they've prioritized vision towards that early game. It's shifted up towards the Baron side now with Xiao out on the bottom, pushing down this turret to open up the map for Suning, but Jay is doing the exact same.
And here's the thing, yeah, you're right, he's doing the exact same, but he's on the right side of the map near Baron. This is going to be a big call out. You can already see Chalitza saying, okay, I'll match you in lane. We're not ready to pull the trigger on Baron just yet. So we're going to have to see a slower game, burn down the control wards in the red side jungle. This is what you want to see out of Vici because alternatively, as I already mentioned, you can just go straight for Baron, start it up, and then lose that fight immediately because of the AoE that Suning have in their rock.
Remember, at the moment, Chalitza does not have teleport, but he can stop Xiao from joining the fight. That is something Renekton is so good at doing. And with that vision down into the bottom side, it denies him for now, but Chalitza's still happy to take that match.
It's just a tough ask because what you're saying is you're getting pushed into in the lane frequently by the Urgot. Now you have to follow him, even though there are countless the cannon minions bouncing at your turret. Oh no, they found their next target.
I like this though, but spotted out by control ward. Suning are onto this. Vici is too ambitious for now. I think we've just been given our answer.
All right, Scuttlecrab is about to spawn, so if I am Vici, you would want to pick that up, get your blue buff on the Galio hopefully, and then just start playing that game because just start counting how many flashes are down. Maple doesn't have his flash. He's the primary target.
Oh man, that's a death and rock and roll. Xiao underneath
Oh
the turret.
no!
Okay, that's a solo kill. Now for Suning. Can they pull the trigger? Xiao is going to have to back.
He's going to have to base, and he has teleport for himself. So this is just a pure numbers advantage for Suning Gaming.
Well, Xiao at least get the turret before he goes. He's going to do exactly that. Suning are able to push up a little bit in the mid lane. That's about it.
But this is what you expect out of Xiao in previous splits. Previous splits, when he didn't have the support from the rest of his team, he would be the solo carry for his lineup. Being able to get this against Chalitza, when it's Vici Gaming that have that large of an advantage this early in the game, he saves it for Suning.
He's got a Black Cleaver, Righteous Glory, 2-item Urgot, and a good Fear Beyond Death in these fights could enable Loken and Maple to output that damage. Don't forget, Hacker is going to be starting it off as well. Suning are not out of this just yet, even being 3k down.
Yeah, there's pure paranoia here because even though I mentioned the, how snowbally this team can, like the meta can get, to your point, they lose one team fight. Take a look at how many people actually have bounties on Vici. It was not just one member getting the kills, everyone was getting the kills. 450 on both the Rakan and the Jarvan. 600 on the Galio and 700 on that.
Okay, Vici Gaming, the Wombo is there again. Maple drops 2, a double kill for Jay, the superstar mid laner for Vici Gaming, says go.
That was beautiful. Nothing is stopping them from taking Baron now. Even if they try, Hacker would have to go for a miracle Baron steal.
Jay is on protection duty. They just turn back around though, and Sword Art, you're in so much trouble once more. Suning want this to happen though, and Jay is going to be caught out by the Urgot. Fear Beyond Death has been used, and it's onto the Galio, who somehow gets taunted as he drags him in, but they just go back to Baron.
Here we go. It's all on Hacker here. We saw his Baron steal in Demacia Cup. Can he do it again?
He doesn't have a Sonic Wave or Resonating Strike. Baron's at 2k. They can't get in, and Xiao has bit the bullet a little bit too early. Sword Art spits him out. He gets burned down.
Time.
Hacker's over the side. Jumps in way too early. Vici need to stop Baron. They do. They smite it. They secure it. And SMLZ can't stop it.
That was so close. Had Suning had one more member, the fight's not done yet.
Oh, the TP, but look at the turnaround from Puff. His damage is unlimited. Xiao lives. It's like he has revive or something. Jumps back in for a last g'day. And Vici Gaming, look, they're doing all the g'day. It's the land down under for Suning, and it's not looking too good. Xiao for the runaway. Puff says it's my pastry time.
Puff is way too strong. 7-0-9 after all is said and done. And he's trying to hunt from Maple. I don't know about this one. He does a lot of damage.
Why not? They're going top lane anyway, Raz. Vici Gaming pull the trigger, and they pull it well. From that first engage to the second, This is a brand new squad.
And they held the Baron HP. We'll have to look at this. I mean, this is from right from the beginning where it all started. Southwind just says go. 2-man knockup. Everyone holds them into the Cataclysm. Instant evisceration.
I don't think we've seen Vici Gaming play this way in a very long time. It is a brand new roster, mind you. But still, the organization, a breath of fresh air is what they need, and this is what they're getting.
Yes, the organization definitely wanted direction. They couldn't get it after they had Swift and Coco.
Yeah.
I mean, that was definite direction that Newbie had when that duo was there and ready. The games were a lot faster, so it was definitely different than the 2016 1,000 paper cut Vici. So they're trying to find an identity, and I think if you're going into 2019 and this is the first series you see, and it's Southwind and Jay just immediately going into that. 20 minutes into the game, it's still fast, but it's actually just smart too. It's methodical. It's not the ruthless aggression that Swift brought last time. It's that setup that stages it, that conditions the enemy team.
With newer picks like the Renekton and like the Jarvan, questioning a bit of the ambition and maybe putting Jay on something defensive, more like a Mind of Galio. But this time we're not questioning anymore. There's such a big lead, and there's now a double Infernal on Vici Gaming's fighting comp.
I think Vici just has a good grasp of what's meta. Remember, Galio is right now pretty damn OP.
Yeah.
So you are willing to sacrifice Jay's assassination playstyle to give him Galio. And then, so they just go back to the LPL special of 2017 when WE did their thing. And then how they constantly find themselves in international competitions with Jarvan Galio, Camille Galio. It's so easy to just go on these team fights. Suning, if they go into the next game, win or loss, they need to take that combination away from them.
Well, they're about to start one of those fights again, Raz. Xiao Ao gets knocked up, but it's simply to get him away from the turret, which has taken like dust there for Vici.
Yeah, this is 2 cannon minions too. If they can hold this for a little longer, that's another cannon wave coming in. This meta is pretty ruthless once you have a gold lead, especially 28 minutes in the game. You see how fast these minions are moving forward. It's just constant waves hitting towers that you have to protect. That is a lot.
It's set up for massive bounties though. Puff does have a 1k bounty on his head, 709. At this point though, hard to kill with the protection of Vici Gaming. His 4th item on the way, and as these turrets drop, that is coming very soon.
Yeah, Puff has flash, Puff has ultimate, and he's dealing a lot of damage at the moment. I don't think there's any way you get to him, especially with how closely Southwind is playing towards him. So there's not an instance where Puff is alone in lanes, which has been an issue for some of the AD carries in the region. So, ooh, close.
Close one there from Xiao Ao. Seems to be the shining light at the moment for Suning, considering how that bottom lane went early and how it's progressed.
And he just got QSS. Puff is untouchable. You can't touch this man.
I wouldn't want to go near him either. At the moment, Puff is going to one-hit everybody, except maybe Xiao Ao. Even Sword Art is just not in that position just yet. Now, look at your screen. 1 minute 50 towards that Baron. We've got a big one here. Baron's coming closer again. Next one's going to be Cloud. After that, we start talking about the Elder Drake if we get there.
So this is the real test for a lot of the new teams, is that you're right. A lot of these objectives that are neutral would be coming up, like Cloud and Baron, but I think that their focus should be on towers now. That you're already seeing Jay push out top lane so repeatedly that there is nothing stopping them from trying to dive this inhibitor tower here. Because they have so much outward protection, there is no vision that Suning has topside and bot side. So whenever you see Hacker peeking his head into this bush right now, the bush that Southwind is clearing out, that should just be instant initiation. So you can already see Vici is trying to test the waters. Even though Baron is up in 1 minute, they are nowhere near it. That's not their intent.
Even though that vision is getting at least one down, it's not really enough.
Exhaust.
It's just been exhausted again. That's simply to stop him hitting the turret or going in for an engage. Suning are on their last legs.
He was resetting his keystones.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's going to have heal right now. But no exhaust does mean a lot with how much damage Puff has been pushing out.
And that heal is probably going to be used very last minute. Can he get the reaction speed off at this point with the damage being put out by Vici Gaming? They're on multiple fronts of these turrets here. Jay sitting in the top side of the map. 4 members of Vici looking for that split mid.
You can see Xiao does have to play front to back because he has Ghost, not Teleport here. So there's no opportunity for a flank. And that makes it so much easier for Vici to work, that they can consistently push under tower if they just have to worry about the people in front of them.
Well, at least that push is still going top side. Worrying about front to back right now is probably the least a concern for Suning. Worrying about getting some of their damage off before getting absolutely obliterated is a new concern now as Baron arises.
Okay, this is their best bet for a pick. Receding so far into the pit, at this point, Suning has to believe. Now they know that they're not on Baron. Where can they be? I think that caught them out.
Oh, I think it did actually with the end of the laser there from SMLZ. Suning are onto it. But Vici, they don't have an idea. The extent of vision was on them.
They're too far into the mid lane. At this point, this is when you start the fight. Vici wants this.
The control will spot them out, but maybe it's too late. Ike's in first,
Southwind
there as well. Hacker on the side, big split off, great Cataclysm to kick it all off. But the rest of Vici aren't here just yet. The damage onto Hacker is slight, but Ike's wants to continue it forward. The Jarvan has gone so far forward, but the heroic entrance knocks up Zhao Ao. He's tanky, but for how long? Watch Maple on the back end. He slowed everything down. Ike's getting burst down, but Chaliza just jumps back in. It's Maple running for his life. Vici get the pick, and all that matters is they're going to Baron.
Yeah, one pick. Not bad if you're Suning, actually, because of how that fight played out. They went on towards Lee Sin, but he was over the wall, so they actually couldn't really nail him down. So Zhao Ao is dead. But it should be Suning primed and ready to try and steal this Baron.
Sword Art brings Hacker over.
Oh, no!
Southwind blocks the Sonic Wave. That means Baron is theirs. Great heads-up play from the support of Vici Gaming. Second Baron of the game.
I don't know who lodges in their votes for MVP, but I'm already going to put my vote out for Southwind.
I'll give you a one-up.
Southwind has been the best player of this game.
Yeah.
He is insane right now. Sure, a lot of focus is Puff outputting the damage. Jay a lot of times being a primary form of like how they start these fights and picks. Ike's has just been going, right? That's true. But goddamn, man. Southwind has just been so impressive thus far.
I can't believe in the face of this Suning super team that the support from Vici Gaming has been so confident to start this engage. Communication definitely not an issue right now for Vici Gaming, as you would expect with a greener roster.
That's the most important thing. Remember, initially our expectations were they were going to be coming in with the veterans of Caveman and Audi. A lot of people singing the praises of Audi and solo queue, how dominant he is in lane, coming in from EDG.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, here we go. So like a lot of people were riding on those players to start it out, but I don't even think they need them. Going up against Suning and just dominating in a smart fashion. This isn't like the usual snowball you'd expect out of the patch.
I don't think we're really going to see another variation of the team here today, even if they were thinking about it before, after this game. Puff and Ike's finally make a move in. That's the engage they needed. Where did Hacker go? Right down to the depths. And that's the rest of them too. Vici Gaming finally pull the trigger. Not that they haven't before. They clean up the rest.
All right. 40-second death timers, and Zhao Ao's the only one remaining. Not enough.
This is going to be the final kill. Zhao Ao. Tanky Urgot no longer. Vici Gaming, they hoist the white flag. A brand new team defeat Suning, the super team, in game one.
And you know what? We have a series on our hands. I know we hear that a lot, but everyone going into today thought it was going to be a swift 2-0 in both series. I even had a question in chat. Someone in chat asked me, do you think Vici have a chance this series? I said, nah. I usually don't want to throw a team under the bus. I was like, you know, I think this team has a chance. They have a great mid laner. They have a good support like that. But realistically, Vici brought in all of their players were from the LDL.
Yep.
No one is notable. But it was enough to take down world-class players, and that really says a lot about don't worry about where they come from. Worry about what they're bringing.
Because we bring it back to the start of the game. And
yes.
What were they bringing then? Well, great heads-up play, good engages, but they just weren't hitting the mark. Then it was that third play down the bottom side that made everything change.
And it was all just coordination, because remember, Suning has coordination issues. Yep. We saw that in Demacia Cup. Like, we're not saying that Suning has great coordination day one. And so if we're in a setting where both Vici and Suning are working out coordination issues, great. Who's the better mechanical players? Who has the better draft? Vici had the better draft. Coach Long gave them a damn good draft. And on top of that, just based off of how mechanically how they were playing out, Puff and Southwind just dominated SMLZ and Sword Art. So just based off that alone, congratulations, they were the better duo lane.
They were clean, and Southwind, especially on that Rakan, what an absolute great showing. Game 1 is only just heating up between Vici and Suning, the super team, but are they still a Suning team in the face of Vici? We're about to find out right after this.